Chris, give us a clap. Okay, get fired up for a second. Here we are.
I'm fired. I'm ready.
Okay.
My nipples are cold. All right, here we are. T-minus 48 hours before I jump on a plane to go to Iceland and attempt what'll probably be the most ridiculous thing I've ever tried in my life, which is an 800 plus mile east to west crossing, the longest of its kind through the interior of the country, through some of the harshest, roughest conditions. And what I have before you is basically laid out my years worth of prep. This idea has been brewing for a long time, and I just wanted to run you through a proper gear list of what I'm going to take and why, and kind of the bike that I've built over these past couple months, and sort of what's working for me and what I'm absolutely terrified of. I guess so to start, best place is with this beautiful 2019 Specialized HardTail Epic. This is a cross-country racing frame. Let's be real, this thing's built for going fast and kind of going downhill and through some rad terrain. It's definitely not built for bike packing, but I modified it as much as humanly possible to be the lightest, most, you know, badass bike packing frame I could. So what I have is a 17-pound carbon fiber frame, which is outfitted with a 10 to 50 tooth cassette, Sram Eagle Axxess, obviously, throughout electronic shifting, which for places like Iceland where there's really fine grain volcanic sand, this electronic shifting is actually really awesome. I have upgraded the brake system to the Sram guides with a 180 millimeter rotor. I also upgraded the wheel set to the 30G Motos zip wheels, super compliant, lighter weight, and tire whiz, so I know exactly what my air pressure is when I'm going through and having to air down and air back up. Where the rubber meets the road, or the gravel, or the sand for that matter, I have Schwalbe front and rear. The front is a 2.6 Nobby Nick with brand new sidewall technology. The rear is a Rock Razor 2.35. This is the biggest I could put in. I probably would have gone slightly bigger if I could have, but with this frame, I was limited to certain things. So with that, I have specialized bar set, specialized stem, Rockshox 100 millimeter front fork here, Ergon GP3 grips, would just give me a little bit of different hand position. This funky looking saddle is a infinity seat. It's actually the same type of seat I've used for all my ultra endurance riding. Basically one of the most comfortable saddles I've ever found that allows you to really ride with or without a chamois in awesome comfort. I can't swear enough by that thing. Kind of diving into sort of the bag system I'm using here, which is really a key component of what's making this work. As you can see, there's no panniers on this bike. I kind of tried to go for a lighter weight setup, and it's going to make it interesting. Let's just say that. I tried to use what I think is the best solution for being waterproof, having gear accessible, and really kind of limiting it down to just the bare necessities. So this front fork is a Rockshox, and it gives me about 100 millimeters of travel. And diving into kind of the bag off this, the bags I'm running are pretty much mostly Revelate here. Starting with the front and moving to the back, I have a Pronghorn medium right here, which is basically going to house my sleeping kit, my pad, as well as my sleeping bag. I've got a waterproof little front roll in the front here that's going to house cameras and electronics. 2 mountain feed bags. Again, these are kind of holding phones, cameras, things of that nature, as well as like my spork and things I need to get to. Little specialized top tube bag, Revelate frame bag. I have a Joey down tube bag mounted to the front fork as well as to the down tube right here. I like the size, I like the compression of them. In the back, I have another tiny roll top bag that's mounted to a custom tail fin setup. The tail fin is a really lightweight rear rack. It's like 1.5 pounds or less, with a custom fabricated roll top waterproof bag on top, and that's just basically cinched by a volley strap. I have a pump mounted to the other side, and that's really all my carrying capacity on the bike. I'm also going to be running a Black Diamond 15-liter backpack that I will get to in a second here. But pretty much everything you see on this is going to be filled to the brim with something, right? Clothing, really focusing on the back area. Food, which is going to be in these Joey down tube bags, front, right here. And then in this frame bag. I'm gonna have food here, as well as my repair kit right here. In the back, that's tent stakes, hand warmers, and some other stuff. Again, up in this zone is electronics, it's cameras, it's gonna be chargers, headlamps, and probably just to-go snacks and whatnot. So that's kind of the bike as it is, as it's built right now. Again, without all of this crap, it's actually pretty light and handles really, really well. The moment you load it down, it gets pretty interesting. But let's dive into kind of what else I'm taking and why. So first things first, this is a custom Nanga Japan sleeping bag. As you can see, it's pretty short. It's built for that reason because I'm basically planning to compensate for upper insulation with a puffy jacket. This is about a 4-foot bag, and it has a toe box in it. Zero backing at all, so there's no baffles, no down here, because when you compress down, it doesn't do you much good. So that is my bag. It's about a 30-degree bag. I've got a Thermarest ProLite. As you can see, this thing packs down pretty small, but it's not one of those ultra light pads. Why? Because when those ultralight pads, you know, pop, they're terrible. It's a big bummer. This thing is bulletproof. It always works. So that's what I'm bringing. Awesome. So let's kind of go through here with, I'm bringing these Shimano MT7s, just a good bike packing shoe, kind of all arounder, works for everything. One of the biggest unknowns we have are the river crossings that we're going to be going through, and those river crossings are going to really force us to kind of get pretty wet at times. I'm bringing these little Vivo Barefoot shoes that basically allow me to cross through a river and then have the water just drain out. I'm not bringing any Gore-Tex shoes, no waterproof shoes, nothing like that. Inside these is an NRS sock that's basically like a small, thin neoprene sock. Just gonna allow to keep the feet warm in those icy, freezing cold glacial rivers. So shoes right here. As you can see, water bottles, actually every bottle I'm bringing is soft. And what I mean by that is there's no rigid bottle. So my bladder, all my bottles are meant to be able to compress down so that when I need to put more gear in there, I'm not having to force myself to have all this space filled up by a plastic bottle. For navigation, maybe the most important thing is the Wahoo Elemnt Roam. This little tool is an amazing piece of equipment for not only, you know, obviously measuring all the bike speed and all that stuff, but for navigating you on a GPX route that we're gonna build when the pavement or tarmac turns to dirt or sand or whatever. This is crucial. Camp mug, this is all I'm bringing to eat out of. And we'll get to that later, but I'm basically bringing no hot meals, no stove. I'm going with a group of 4, and one of the group members will have a hot stove, so there will be access to hot water and whatnot, but personally, this is basically all I'm eating out of, so that's that. Let's dive in here. Sony Xperia, this is basically the camera that I'll be using for 90% of what I'm shooting, as well as this tiny little point and shoot camera that Sony makes as well. This is kind of their ZV-1 sort of vlog camera because it has awesome video and allows me to document the trip, but this is really it. And even with this, there's a lot of battery juice that needs to power these things because I can't bring a million batteries, and I'm gonna have to power a lot of extra stuff. So yeah, this is kind of my documentation kit right here. All right, let's dive into this whole setup right here. This is all my electronics I'm bringing. I'm not bringing this case. This is all gonna go inside the bag, but pretty much this is like 10,000 milliamp batteries, another 10,000 milliamp battery, headlamp, black diamond, chargers, a little rear light. This is also kind of a little bit of a new system, but I'm bringing a bunch of loose lithium ion batteries that I can then charge by a very, very portable charging device made by Nightcore. It's a UK company. This is a light and motion front headlamp for the bike. It's kind of going to get over to the time period now in Iceland where it's getting a little dark at night, so this will be coming in handy. But yeah, this is pretty much all the charging components I'm using, as well as cables, one kind of multi-cable, and then 2 more small USB cables and USB-C cables for the trip, as well as some iPhone adapters. So electronics is kind of a big headache. Obviously, going with a solar setup there wouldn't really make a lot of sense, so we're kind of having to force ourselves to basically bring what we can and use what's possible. One of the most important pieces of the kit, this is my DOP kit. In here is toothbrush, all of those things. It's also a med kit. I've spent meticulous hours dialing this thing in, from liquid bandage to some other emergency suture supplies, to basically everything I could think of for my butt, to make sure that I don't get any saddle sores or anything like that. So this thing's worth its weight in gold. Then sunglasses right here, little Varnet pair of sunglasses. Just something to kind of keep the wind out of the face. Wide coverage is important. Something with a little side coverage is huge. So if it gets windy and that volcanic sand starts blowing, these things are going to come in handy a lot. And that is a very real reality of what could go wrong. Probably one of the other most important parts of this kit is my repair kit. I'm going to bring 2 spare tubes. Obviously, this has just got everything you can imagine, from lube to extra nuts and bolts to a big patch kit to an extra derailleur hanger, to pretty much everything else you could imagine. Also, a couple extra small batteries for some of the electronic shifting and whatnot. This is kind of one of those scenarios where you hope you don't have to tap into this thing, but if you do, then that would be you hope you have it with you. And the other component is this little wolf tooth repair kit. It's going to take me a second to get this out, sorry. So the other part of this component is my kind of tools, which basically I've used both of these little wolf tooth hideaway handlebar tool sets. One's got a chain breaker, one's got all the little kind of Allens you can imagine. A couple extra volley straps, because you can never have enough of those in case something breaks or you need to fix something. Tent poles. We're bringing 2 black diamond tents. To be honest, this gear right here, this is actually for my partner, Eric Batty. We're kind of pairing up. We have a team of 4, and each of us are carrying a number of stuff. So I've got the stakes and the poles, and he's going to be able to have the tent. This is actually going to pack way, way, way down into something, but this is our little 2-person black diamond ion tent. It's about a 3-person, 3-season tent that hopefully can endure about everything we can throw at it. It's a bibbler, so that means basically it's one single wall, and it works really awesome. Let's dive into the last few things. Specialized helmet, going with the road bike helmet just to keep kind of the lightness of it. The reality is we're probably not even be wearing helmets most of the time because we're going to be moving so slow, which means we'll probably be wearing a hat or something along those lines to keep the rain and the wind out of our faces and out of our ears. The last most important thing here besides the clothing is this backpack. This is an ultralight trail running pack. I like it mainly just because it's got some pockets in the front, can allow for gear storage, goos, whatever you need. And I have in here a 40-liter Hydrapak bladder. This backpack is basically built to kind of just be, again, carrying some extra clothes, some essentials, and it's going to be something that I'm going to be loading up and pretty much riding with every single day and being able to access everything I need. So kind of really the last thing to jump into here is the clothing. What am I going to be wearing? And this is pretty much it for potentially some of the worst weather on the planet. Let's go through this really quick. This is a Rafa bib. This is the cargo bib, so that means it has like some side storage in the pockets right here. You know, it would be really nice to get bib weather, but you never really know what you're going to get. Lululemon top. This has kind of got that silver ion material so that when it really starts to stink, it's going to basically keep you nice and clean. So long sleeve top. This is an active jacket, just like riding shell, super lightweight, kind of something that will just keep like minimal rain off. This is actual waterproof jacket that does have some ventable and breathable sides in it here. This is a merino base layer, hooded, you know, thumb holes will go all the way over the body. This is a sort of also kind of merino mid layer. I would envision that most of the time I'll probably be riding with this thing as well as my active jacket kind of over the top there. This is a Lululemon piece. And then I have about 3 pairs of pants. I've got like a pair of riding tights here that are just basically something that can go over a chamois. I have a pair of waterproof pants as well. This is a pair of Lululemons as well. And then I have a small, lightweight, just Patagonia t-shirt also in here that is made of kind of their capilene material. So that is that, and these are all stored in these Hyperlight Mountain Gear waterproof Revelate roll top bags. These are just great because in case everything gets soaking wet, you don't want your clothes to get wet. A pair of sealskin socks. Sealskins are rad. They're actually waterproof socks that work really, really well. So in case you are crossing a river, these things can go up like almost knee high and allow you to keep dry in there. A pair of Lululemon socks lined with some of that silver material that keeps kind of the stench off. This is an extra pair. I'm not bringing these. A specialized pair of socks, just merino wool, something a little thicker, right? If I really need to, I can double down on the socks. The one thing I was going to say is that my shoes are actually a size up so that I can wear multiple layers of socks if I need to. This is kind of my other layer of pants, right? It's just like a kind of an easy, light wearing sort of camp pants that Lululemon makes. And I can layer triple layers, meaning I'll have my riding bibs, I'll have my camp pants, and I can have my waterproof layer of pants over that. Camp towel for when you're crossing a river. This is meant to dry off the whole body if you need to, right? Pair of shorts, like actual swim shorts, because if you're soaking wet and you're trying to cross a river, this is an option, or finding a hot spring, which I really hope and pray that we find. Let's see here. This is a pair of Specialized, just kind of super thin riding shorts, kind of like more of an underwear style, so they can sort of go underneath anything else you're wearing. You could wear them under shorts or whatever. And these are just really nice if you are wearing pants, right, that aren't really bike specific. These will work great. And then this is a pair of Gore-Tex, like riding booties, just waterproof, go over your shoes. And then last but not least, a couple pairs of gloves. Let's see what I got here. When it gets really severe and cold, I have these full-time winter gloves that my hands get freezing cold, so I didn't want to skimp on these. I wanted to bring something that would truly, really work for me. Got those. I have a pair of just thin half finger gloves for when the riding is nice, padded. These are made by Giro. I have also a pair of NRS gloves for if it's wet and you're crossing a river and you need to grip onto the bike. These are kind of lightweight gloves as well. And then last pair would just be a pair of kind of Specialized mountain bike normal wearable gloves. 2 balaclavas. One is Descent Labs, all the way over the head, over the face, and one is a buff that kind of goes over my neck. And that is that. Now, I know this is long-winded, and I'm sorry, but I have a little bit more to go through with you guys, and that is food. Now, the food, let's be real. This isn't even the full weight. This is about 12.6 pounds of food, and we are going to be unsupported for about 8 to 11 days. If you take that in consideration, you're burning about 5,000 calories a day. We're going to be running probably a 2,000 calorie deficit, meaning I can only really pack about 3,000 calories a day, and that's what this looks like. So please understand that I do my best at all times to not use single-use plastics, but with this ride, a lot of the single-use plastics are just a little too, or a lot of the reusable plastics are a little too heavy and a little too bulky. I have a lot of them. So we went with just traditional Ziplocs, and my goal is to use these as much as possible. But this is kind of my special mixture right here. This is like a keto, really high-fat breakfast cereal, tons of hemp seeds, cacao nibs, coconut, pecans all blended together with some peanut butter stuff. This is like a hot or cold mixture, and this is probably about 6,000 calories right here. Calories are hard. You'll realize that really quickly. I have a whole bunch of peanut butters. This is coconut butter, macadamia butter with other peanut butters, almond butters, whatnot, just a high fat. This is probably, again, every package too, I have marked out with how many calories it is. So this right in here is probably another 2,000 calories. Kind of the beauty of the way that I've built this is I've really tried to go as high fat as I can with my diet, meaning not a lot of carbs, because carbs take up a lot of space and they don't deliver a lot of calories, right? These are peeling nuts, just again, soaked in olive oil, right? As much fat as I can get with a lot of salt in there as well. This is salmon jerky, right? Salmon jerky, just a good source of protein, something I can eat along the way. My traditional vegan diet is kind of out the window for this ride, mainly because I'm going to be unsupported on a bike for 11 days, and I know that I need a little more calories that I'm going to be able to put into some big bushel of kale, right? So I need dense foods, and at risk of eating too many nuts, I had to mix it up with a bit more. Also, coconut shreds. These have been salted, soaked in olive oil as well. Macadamia nuts. These are, again, awesome high-fat food. Salted. there's obviously a theme here. Salted, soaked in some oils as well. This is kind of a special blend. It's a coconut mana, which means coconut meat, made by Nutiva. And I basically, this is a chocolate flavor, and I threw in some cinnamon, nutmeg, as well as some vanilla flavoring. And that's basically something I'm planning on squirting out onto these. These are basically coconut wraps. A lot of coconut. Why? High fat, it digests well, it works pretty easily for me. These are these flat wraps that I can pretty much roll into any part of my bag. They just kind of sit flat. And basically what I can do is I can put fish, olives, whatever, some oils in there and have it be salty, or I can take this thing and squeeze that chocolate and roll it up, and this is like a really high fat, good to eat thing. Again, in here, what else do I have? I have a whole bunch of chocolate almonds. These are, this is 2,000 calories right here of chocolate almonds. This is made by Skinny Dipped. It's a company out of Montana, I believe. Awesome brand, really good. I mean, these are like something I crave, so it's good to have something like that. Yeah, these are pistachios. Again, salted, just dry roasted, really good. Something that I know I can is gonna taste good when I'm like at the end of my enjoyment factor. I know that when I get to Iceland, I'm gonna be buying some more food, probably some gummies, some stuff like that. The other thing is gonna be dehydrated olives. These are epic when you want something that's kind of a little more chewy, a little more satiating, but has that salty flavor, right? These are awesome. Other thing is hydration. Right, I've got a whole bunch of packs of magnesium. This is from a brand called Elemnt. I have Ultima in here. These are basically no sugar. These are all just hydration with magnesium, electrolytes, and whatnot. And my goal is to have about 5 per day. So I have just right around that number in here. The other thing I'm going to be bringing out is some Noon Sport tablets with a little bit of caffeine. These are really good. Again, no sugars, nothing like that. No added carbohydrates. Other than that, there's really, the only other thing that I'm probably going to bring is a couple tiny packs of salmon. Just something that I can, is going to mix it up, because I'm basically eating 90% nuts here. And then in terms of just, kind of bodily function, Hammer Nutrition makes some really good stuff. I'm going to be putting these inside of a small plastic bag and shoving them probably into one of these pockets, but these are just race caps. It's a super dense dose of electrolytes and whatnot. The only thing I would say, because I've had a lot of people ask me about this stuff, what the heck is it and why are you bringing a bag of powder with you? Well, it's actually not. It's ground up, again, flax, pecans, all that stuff. It's a super dense and really yummy, actually, breakfast cereal, or you can make it into something warm. And that's kind of the beauty, is I have my little tin cup, I can add some water, and this stuff goes a long, long way. It sticks to your bones and just kind of fuels you all day. So I'm really been looking for those things, those items that are high fat, that'll satiate me for a long period of time. But the crazy part about this is that this is about 10 pounds shy of what I need to bring with me. Ultimately, the goal is to kind of, have a variety of food that's interesting and you want to eat. That's the key thing, because after a hard day of being freezing cold and whatnot, it's really nice to just have food that you you feel good about eating and actually is in some way comfort food, right? That's kind of what you're looking for. So if I pick up anything there, it'll probably be a block of cheese and maybe some eggs, something like that, hard boiled. We're gonna be passing through a handful of towns, so maybe we'll be able to resupply, but it's unlikely. You guys, if I missed anything, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty much just figuring this all out as I go, and I appreciate your patience and thanks for sticking with me. And I can just hope and pray that everything works and the equipment works out. And I know I've tested this stuff in some really brutal conditions, and so I'm really psyched to see if this baby can take me all the way through the interior of Iceland, 800 plus miles through, you know, single track, tarmac, road, gravel, and potentially a lot of deep sand. So yeah, this will all be going on my bike, and I'll be taking it through.